Today on Nova Legends podcast, I'm going to preview the regional tournaments with the great Chris Jollay of NOVAhoops.com. Make sure you're checking into his website for all the scores and rankings and all the other information, recruiting lists and stuff that you need to keep abreast of the Northern Virginia basketball scene. Chris, good to see you again. Thanks for doing this.
Good to see you. Which games did you hit last week, first of all?
So last week, I had work stuff, so I didn't go as many as I wanted to. I think I only got to one game. Um,
Ooh.
I know. Which game did I got to I saw the Woodson West Potomac game online, but I didn't get there. Um, Jesus Christ, what game did I go? You go first. What game did you go to?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I've been going to a lot. I've been boys heavy in the last week and some crazy games. It started with, really last 2 weeks ago with the district tournament and the crazy Briar Woods Lightridge game. Saw the Cedar Run final between Patriot and Gainesville, which turned out to be a crazy game. Patriot was winning big early. Gainesville came back, had a chance to tie or take the lead late. Couldn't do it. Patriot, again, your Cedar Run champions. And then Friday night, I actually went to Brook Point down near Fredericksburg to see Brook Point and Potomac, which turned out to be a great game as well. Potomac won it 62-61. Little bit of controversy in that, little bit of refereeing controversy in that one. But the game everybody was talking about that night was, of course, Independence beating Garfield in those same regional 6B regional playoffs. As you know, 6B regionals is underway when Friday night you had the district championships in Fairfax.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. I haven't gotten to as many places as I'd like to live, but it's been some crazy good basketball, especially on the boys' side.
No, exactly. Well, I did. It finally came to me in my 6-year-old brain. I was at Stonebridge for the Riverside game and then the Potomac Falls game. So that's it's close to me, and there were good games. As you were kind of implying, we already have decisions that have been made down south in Prince William County and Stafford. I mean, we're in regionals. Teams have been eliminated. There are still very few teams north that have been eliminated. I definitely think that Woodgrove we thought would probably go into the regionals. They're gone. Langley ups on the boys side. Langley upset Wakefield on the boys side, so they're out. But and there's some upsets. Hayfield lost to Mount Vernon in the semis, so now there's a group of death. There's a really tough bracket that we have to worry about now. But most of the teams north are still alive. There's still all to play for, which is a little bit unfair. I think almost everyone is alive in Loudoun County, and then in Prince William County, there's only 4 teams. I think there's 3 teams alive. So I think it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, and there's you mentioned some another crazy result. Loudoun County, who has like 7 or 8 wins on the season, beating Woodgrove, eliminating Woodgrove. We didn't think that would happen.
Yeah.
And then Briar Woods, the boys, I mentioned them earlier. They won the crazy game a week ago Friday against Lightridge, where Devin Pettibone hit a shot with a controversial shot, if you saw the video with zero point 0.9 seconds, they threw it the length of the court. He hit the shot. I felt so happy for that kid because he told me in the interview afterwards, he goes, man, because that's another 7-8 win team. I think they had 7 wins. Uh, they've lost by one possession, something like 5, 7, 8 times this year. And they're getting it done in the playoffs. And Friday, they actually went down and beat Riverbend, which was a 17-18 win team.
Yeah.
Now Riverbend kind of played an easy schedule, so they weren't, really a powerful 18-win team, but they were still an 18-win team. And Briarwoods went on the road and beat them in their home place. And that's what's fun about these playoffs. We often say, and we're right to question whether these teams should get yet another opportunity at regionals
Yeah.
when they've lost to these teams two, three times already. Teams like Briarwoods and Loudoun County are showing, that it can be good to let them in because it's a lot of fun sometimes.
It is fun. There's two sides of it. It's a tournament game. We get to see teams have a shot in the postseason, but then you kind of cheapen the regular season a little bit, and teams that have won time in and time out, they're penalized because they lose one game in the postseason. But I guess that's the way it is. You have to come to play. I am glad to see Pettibone, getting his flowers. He's a kid going to Hood College. Probably, been a little bit in the shadows here in Loudoun County. There's been some really good players the last few years, are great players this year. But it's good that he's gotten a chance to go to the regional semifinals with a win, puts him in the state playoffs. So they
Isn't
may
it
have
unbelievable? An 8-win team going to states, but they've deserved it. They're winning the close games now. So
exactly. It's all to play for. The way we do the postseason. Postseason is almost everything, except for in Prince William County, because there are teams in Prince William that don't even qualify for districts. So there's definitely a different. Well, let's go ahead and start with the boys class six, and let's start with the Patriot. And it's interesting, as I think I mentioned this earlier. The tough in soccer, in the World Cup, whatever soccer, you call it the group of death. The toughest group is called the group of death. And because Hayfield lost to Mount Vernon, they're in a playing game against Fairfax, who beat West Springfield, another team that's probably eliminated early compared to how they did this regular season. But Hayfield's going to play Fairfax with a chance to go to Woodson, and that's going to be a quarterfinal game with lots at stake. Two incredible coaches have won state championships, lots of talent on the team. So that's going to be a really interesting part of that bracket.
yeah, and more upsets you're talking about. What a crazy weekend this was. Mount Vernon taking down Hayfield, and we knew Hayfield was a little shakier than in past years, freshman point guard, that kind of thing. Less proven scorers out there, but they had been playing well. They had just beaten Edison by like 25 points. So it was kind of surprising when O'Neill Alotny and they came in and Mount Vernon and dealt them a loss, and that made Hayfield's path a lot tougher, obviously.
He's a 6'6" kid, right? You mentioned,
Yeah,
yeah.
and really good player. Mount Vernon has other kids that can play, obviously, that are pretty good as well. To come in on Hayfield's home floor and get the win, 62-55, I think it was. Very impressive. And it really gave Hayfield a harder road because, as you mentioned, now they got to go to Woodson. Now, I will say the semifinals are at Hayfield in the Occoquan region. So if they can somehow get past Woodson, it's almost like they have the high seed again because they'll get home court. But getting past Woodson obviously gonna be real tough on the road.
I think you can make an argument that Hayfield was one of the hottest teams in the area over the last month or so. They've been playing really well. That was a really surprising loss. I don't think Hayfield has lost too many games in the district over the last 5 years or even more. But that's why they play the games. And coach has a young he has a young team. Fairfax did surprise against West Springfield. They've had some tough results this year. Do they have any chance of upsetting Hayfield?
Probably not, but Fairfax is another team and kind of in the Briar Woods mold that has been playing some of these teams pretty close. So, I wouldn't rule it out. And obviously, Mike Barbie, a great coach over there. He's got bigs, he's got shooters. They haven't been able to put it together yet, but yeah, and mentioning West Springfield, I mean, it was just a month ago or a month and a half ago, we were congratulating them for being on top of the Patriot District in a tie. And then all of a sudden, man, they couldn't win anything. And they lost to West Potomac in that 4-5 game in the first round of districts. And then Fairfax took them out. If Fairfax can take out West Springfield, they can take out Hayfield. But it's going to be a challenge. Hayfield coming off a loss like that. I wouldn't want to be in those practices with Coach Poindexter. I mean, they're going to be focused to come back.
And that game will be at Hayfield, right?
I believe so.
Hayfield.
Yes, yes. So that's a big advantage for Hayfield, obviously.
Now, again, we all know how good a coach Carlos Poindexter is, but also Coach Craig does an amazing job as well. Uh, I think Woodson has got one of the biggest home court advantages in the area, even though I believe South County won at Woodson, right?
Well, South County won the district tournament just now. Where
Well,
was that? That
I,
was at Woodson.
I think it was at
South
Woodson.
County came back and they won that game by 10 points, which, credit to South County. That was a rubber match between SoCo and Woodson. Woodson was the number one seed in the district, and South County did win on the road there. Played great defense, and the coach's son, Mike Robinson, hit a few big shots. So now South County also in a better position in the Occoquan uh,
I heard that
region.
South County's been playing better. Johnny Anderson, I think Mike Robinson Jr., I believe. Definitely now one of the teams we have to talk about with a huge chance to go to state because they're in a very light bracket. Again, it's tournament time. You can't take anything for granted, but South County's got to be one of the favorites. Do you think Hayfield has a chance to come in, with a youngish team to come into Woodson with a very experienced team and a chance to beat Woodson on its home court to get to the semifinals?
I mean, it's going to be really tough because Woodson is still, getting that bye, right?
Mhm.
Woodson doesn't have to play that first round. Hayfield has to play Fairfax first. Doug Craig is going to be able to scout Hayfield extensively. Well, he does that anyway, in any game, but now he's going to have a little extra time to prepare for Hayfield. It's going to be really tough if they can do it.
I think that's going to be the game to go see that day for sure. But look, I don't want to count Fairfax out yet. Congratulations, Coach Barbie, for getting your team in the regionals, or at least I guess a play-in type of situation. Let's go to the other part of that bracket because it doesn't get much easier. You got West Potomac, 13 and 12 this year. They had their ups and downs, but no one wants to face West Potomac in the postseason. Annandale's has had their moments as well. I don't think this game is quite a gimme for West Potomac. What do you think about the West Po Annandale game?
No, I don't think it's a gimme. I think Annandale is going to have to play disciplined and they're going to have to play smart to win. I mean, they can't throw up shots. They get into these kind of things where they'll watch J.R. Nelson, Jeremiah Nelson, excuse me, Jeremiah Nelson, who's a fantastic. Have you seen him play?
I
He
haven't.
can I saw a game this year where he just was dunking the bejesus out of the ball, finishing at the rim. Um, they get in a tendency to throw up shots too quick, and they just can't do that against West Potomac. West Potomac's going to play tough defense. They're going to rebound. Annandale has to play smart. Annandale has to get to the free throw line and draw fouls. If they can do that, they have a chance. But again, are you going to bet against Coach Houston at playoff time? I'm not. Hayfield, good for them. They get to avoid West Potomac at least on their
Ex-
side of the bracket.
Exactly. Well, they still may see each other. There's a chance they can still see each other. Let's go to Edison.
True.
So the winner of West Po Annandale is going to travel to Edison. Congratulations, Coach Trey Ford. Edison's always telling me we don't give them enough credit. So I want to shout out. They have a very young team. I saw the all district teams. I think they had at least a couple of sophomores, maybe, and a junior on all district. So this looks like a very young team. They're 18 and 7. Some nice results this year, including a win over Hayfield, which hasn't happened in a few years. But I would think if Westpo survives Annandale, that's a 50-50 at best for Edison.
Definitely. I mean, and Edison is a very good team. Young, talented district player of the year, I believe, was Mansour there. And that tells you a lot, when you've got the kid from Mount Vernon, O'Neill down there, and then you've got at least two kids at Hayfield you could have given player of the year to. Rodney Carmichael has been playing great down there. And, It's a toss up, really. And as you know, Edison last year, I believe, lost in the first round, not the first round, but they lost in a similar position as South County. West Potomac is going to come in there, but again, an advantage Trey Ford has, who's very meticulous and he's always prepared and he watches teams carefully. He gets to get a good look at West Potomac. So that's going to be a big advantage as well. But yeah, 50-50 game. I mean, you say Hayfield at Edison. I would say West Potomac, I'm sorry, Hayfield at Woodson's going to be a must see. West Potomac and Edison would also be a must see, I would say.
It's gonna be a great one. It's gonna be great action. I love Edison's gym. It's got great energy in there. It's like Woodson's gym. So when you look at those six teams, if you had to pick one, to the team that wins on the neutral court, at Hayfield in the semis qualifies for state. In that bracket, who do you favor going getting that berth to the state playoffs?
I mean, you have to look at South County now.
No, no, no.
And
I'm talking about that side. So
oh,
it's
I
going to
got you.
be one of the six teams between Woodson, Edison, Westpo, Annandale, Hayfield, and Fairfax.
Oh, I
Is
got
gonna,
you. I was thinking Westpo was on the other side of
they
bracket.
are. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
confused already.
yeah. We'll get there. But if Woodson, they have to defend their home courts against the winners of Westpo, Annandale, and then Hayfield, Fairfax. But two teams are going to advance to the semis at Hayfield, and the winner of that team will go to the state playoffs, and they'll probably face either South County, maybe Lake Braddock, maybe Mount Vernon in the final. Anyway, who
Yeah.
who do you favor on that side of the bracket to go to the state playoffs?
Well, when I made picks a month ago, I saw Hayfield as the team because I saw them getting better and better, and I saw them, but I thought they would be in that Edison spot. Now, I'll say, even if they were in that Edison spot, they'd be seeing West Potomac, which is not a good matchup for them. You know, the senior guards there, the tough defense. So at this stage, I would have to go with Woodson. I think coming off that loss, Woodson has historically reacted pretty well to that. They're going to get a tough game with Hayfield, obviously, and then another tough game with Edison, Westpo, or Annandale. If Annandale gets hot, I've seen that before. It's the like you say, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I like Woodson though. I would have to go with Woodson.
Yeah. Woodson to me has been one of the most impressive teams throughout the year. I've not seen Hayfield live. I've seen him online. Um, uh, Brady Conklin, Ryan Corallo, just great guard play. Stephen Marinick is a junior shooter off the bench. No, he starts. I still think I give Woodson the advantage over Hayfield on the home court, and with the going back to the state playoffs. Let's go to the other side of the bracket. We went down the South County rabbit hole because they had beaten Woodson in the district final, but they're actually in the other side of this bracket. They have a very nice bracket. They open up with the winner of Justice and Robinson. Now I don't want to sell Justice short. What an achievement! They get the coach of the year, young coach. I know they have a top guard. They're 14 and 11. Amazing. Justice has a winning record after several years of struggle. And Robinson lost one of the best, Noah Barnhart, early, but they've had some decent results. Is that Robinson Justice game? Can Justice beat Robinson in that spot?
Oh, absolutely. I think Justice can beat Robinson. Robinson has kind of changed things up since they lost one of their players, Noah Barnhart, for the year. They're playing a slower tempo now, kind of grinding it out with their defense. And Justice is good. If you've seen Tedros, their guard, he is something else. He's kind of like a shake and bake, get to the rim, attacks the rim real well guard, kind of a combo guard between a point guard and a shooting guard. And he's good. He just alone and Justice really rallying behind their team. Since they beat Edison Mains, earlier in the season, they've been pretty stoked about the Wolves, who haven't really had much success lately. And I've seen other, let's just say, other players on other teams in the gym to watch Justice, which is another good
Yeah,
sign for their program. That'll be a really good game, actually. Robinson, though, well coached. Shout out to the Rams there.
yeah, yeah. Go
I'm a
Rams.
Rams fan. I admit it. I'm biased there. They're really well coached, and they still have plenty of firepower. So I would say maybe Robinson remains a slight favorite in that game, but Justice can absolutely beat them.
Yeah. Robinson's a tough place to play if they're going to Robinson. I believe they are.
I I think it's Justice
Oh, so Justice.
actually.
Okay. So they're going to Justice. Coach Travis Hess, as you mentioned, does a great job. Best of luck to the Rams. I'm also a Robinson alum. I think South County is going to be too much for whoever advances. But if you're in the game, anything can happen. But South County has got a really good path to the state playoffs. Let's go to the other playing game. Lake Braddock is they have to play up. They have to be in a playing game, but they have a really doable bracket to get to the semifinal at Hayfield. They have TJ, who they should be a big favorite to beat, and then Mount Vernon, the surprise runner-up in the national division.
Yeah, and Battle of the Big Men. That'll be worth seeing alone, assuming Lake Braddock gets past TJ, which they should. Nate McComb, their big man, their 6'5", kind of 6'6" guy, different player, but and then an O'Neal Aladi. Great player for Mount Vernon in the post there at 6'6". That'll be worth seeing as well. And I'll tell you, either one of those teams will play SoCo hard. Mount Lake Braddock, obviously, before South County beat them in the tournament semifinals recently. Lake Braddock had that 54-52 win over South County late season that cost South County the number one seed in the district. Lake Braddock's already proven they can beat South County. Now, when you get into the, again, fourth matchup between the teams, things change. You'd have to ask Mike Robinson and Coach Metris what they're going to do on that fourth meeting, how much they've shown. They've probably shown a lot at this point.
Yeah.
But that'll be interesting to watch. Still, you have to say South County strong favorite now. They're playing well. They're still playing defense, yet they're starting to hit more and more shots, just playing a better all-around game. So yeah, they are the strong favorite. Although, and I think Mount Vernon will come in there if Mount Vernon gets past Lake Braddock and won't be intimidated at all.
Yeah, and
So
you have to give Mount Vernon credit because they have some momentum. Lake Braddock, Metris has got to the state final at least once, maybe twice. He is a postseason coach. He's a great coach. Um, if they do line up against South County, and I agree, I don't want to sell Mount Vernon short. That's going to be a great game. I would give South County the advantage just because they're going to have to play one less game. Lake Braddock's going to have to it's going to have to win 3 games to go to the state playoffs. So I just playing the percentages. Even if that game is a 50-50, and I'm not saying it is, I'll probably give South County the advantage to go to the state playoffs.
And you know what's a big equalizer that we haven't talked about? Because you're right, it's a huge advantage of those buys. So the coaches can prepare for these teams
Yep.
and have practices, but we do have some weather rolling in.
Yeah, that's right.
So, fly in the ointment. We could be looking at 3 games in a row where you don't have time to prepare for anything.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Let's hope it just we lose Monday or 2 hours late. So well, anyway, shout out to Johnny Anderson, another great year. And let's
Great
move
player,
north.
Johnny Anderson. We haven't talked about him enough. Great player.
Great player, great body on him. Looks the part, plays hard, can shoot the ball a little bit, and he's the brother of the kid that I like so much. I think Paul Anderson plays at
Paul.
is he plays at Wesleyan or does he play at Christopher Newport? I think he's at Wesleyan.
Well, first of all, I can't keep track of him anymore once they leave for
Yeah.
college. I don't know if he's transferred, but yeah, it was somewhere down there.
Yeah, I think it was. All right, let's go to the northern region, and I think the big news here is there was a injury at the end of the Westfield game where Jamon Price was taken out. Now, I don't know his status. I don't believe he returned to the game. So hopefully he's okay. They've already lost Matthias um, what's Matthias's last name again?
Lee.
Lee,
Mhm.
for the years. His brother Malachi has done awesome stepping in for him, as we knew he would. But hopefully, Jamon is okay. Westfield is going to be loaded with or without Jamon, but Jamon is going to Stetson next year. He's a tremendous athlete. Hopefully, he's okay. But let's go to that game first. Um, Westfield opens up against Herndon. Shout out to Austin Hamilton, his first year at the helm at Herndon. He played there, gets him to the regional tournament. An upset over McLean. I think they beat McLean twice in the last couple weeks. So that was interesting for Coach Hamilton to. He had some big losses this year to get that team together with a losing record and to get to regionals. What a story!
Yeah, it was a good win for Herndon. They were very happy about it, and I don't know how you measure your program. You know, the amount of wins during the regular season. That's big. Getting in the regionals and saying you got in the regionals. Now, McLean had kind of reverse last year, had started well this year and then kind of lost momentum going into the playoffs. Herndon was happy to oblige them. Herndon's already shown, they hung with Garfield at the Mount Vernon tournament. Um, now are they going to beat Westfield? No, probably not. I mean, if Jamon Price is hurt, which we hope they was just taken out more precautionary, I would hope. Then that maybe opens some doors. But Westfield is really playing well. They're playing so deep, and you saw how they already lost Lee and really didn't, lose a beat too much. Even without Price, they're just so deep in the backcourt that they would get past Herndon, I would imagine, pretty easily still.
Yeah, Coach Harris does a great job. He does have his son who could come off the bench, a freshman who's going to be a tremendous player. Isaiah Brown, amazing. Colin Stenberger, maybe the best point guard in Northern Virginia. They have the big guy, Will Robinson, very underrated shooter. When he's hot, he can really stroke it. So even Westfield is going to be fine. They've only lost one game this year to Paul the Sixth, and we know how good Paul the Sixth is. So Westfield began this year as an overwhelming favorite for a state title. Let's see what they can do. Kevin Harris is 1-1, and definitely don't want to count him out. But that semifinal game with the winner of Yorktown and Oakton, if they're without Jamon Price, and we hope he can play, if Yorktown can get healthy, because they've had a concussion protocol with James Davis, didn't play last week. They had a kid, Garon Carcillo, came off the bench, saved the day against WNL to get them to the final against Marshall. Uh, they have a chance to avenge a pretty nasty loss against Oakton. That was without Jake Cullum about a month ago.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the best game of the Northern Region first round. I mean, there's no question. Yorktown and Oakton. That's going to be a good game. Two teams with depth. And Yorktown's been able to survive some injuries because of their depth. You mentioned some of the players that have stepped up. And so that's going to be the game to watch. Yorktown's going to have to be healthy if they're going to beat Westfield. Oakton's going to have to be rolling if they're going to beat Westfield. Oakton played Westfield fairly close in one of their games. I believe it was an 11-point loss.
Hmm.
Um, and as I've mentioned before, Oakton has a lot of ball handling, a lot of shooting, which matches up with Westfield's incredible backcourt, at least somewhat. So if Oakton gets there, and this goes for Yorktown as well, you just gotta, I think you said it last year, you gotta hit some threes and pray.
Exactly. Uh, yeah, Oakton has been very consistent this year. Hats off to Coach Brooks, done a tremendous job with his team. Because Oakton has not had tremendous success on the boys' side of late, so it's good to see them back in the conversation. Yorktown, at the beginning of the year, Jake Cullum's had knee problems all year long, both knees. Sam Russa, tremendous player, has not shot the ball the last month or so with the same kind of confidence. James Davis had a terrific year, the 6'5" post player. This kid, Carcillo, is only a sophomore. If Yorktown is at full strength and Westfield is not at full strength, that semifinal becomes very interesting. I still think Westfield, with or without Jamon Price, they have a lot of horses. So I don't think we need to feel sorry for Westfield. It is going to be interesting. This is a tough side of the bracket. This is one. I don't think it's as tough as the one part of the Patriot bracket, but this bracket is very tough depending upon injuries. Would you still say with or without Jamon Price that Westfield is the favorite to go to get the state tournament bid and to get to
Yes,
the
I
final?
would say
Yeah,
even without Price.
yeah,
I think without Price, they would Marshall would not be a gimme. I think a healthy Yorktown or a healthy Woking would not be a gimme. But yes, I would say they're still the favorite, and that just shows how deep they are. The backcourt, I mean, Isaiah Zay Brown can score 30 a game if they run plays for him, and Colin Stenberger's still going to do what he does and get people open and shoot threes himself. So yeah, it's amazing, but I think they still would be the favorite.
yeah. Well, let's hope that Jamon gets better. Get well, Jamon. If you are hurt, I happen to see it on NFHS. So look, the other side of the bracket. I mean, I don't know who Jerry Lynn is paying over there at Marshall, but you could not script a better side of the bracket. Marshall, and I don't want to Chantilly 6-19, but they played tough this year. I think Coach Carmichael, I believe, does a tremendous job up there. But Marshall's got a 6-19 Chantilly team that comes to Marshall. And then the other side of the bracket, Langley off the upset to Wakefield qualifies against a 13-13 Centerville team that nobody was talking about at the beginning of the year, but has played some pretty good ball of late. This is the side of the bracket which you want to be what you want to be part of.
Absolutely. And it was so crucial, like I've talked about, to win the district number one seed for Marshall, to get that bye. Now, McLean's threw that all out the window last year, but Marshall got that number one seed in the district, got a bye in the first round, because as we know, Washington Liberty, seventh seed, Washington Liberty could have upset anybody.
That's
Oh,
right.
did well against Yorktown. Marshall got that bye. Then they got Yorktown on their home floor in the championship game, won that game, which again is huge, puts him on the right side of the bracket away from Westfield. So what they earned it. I mean, Jerry Lynn is definitely paying people over there. And those assistant coaches, those are some premier, Brian Doyle and those
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
They're not going to work for free. I mean, Jerry Lynn's paying them, whether it's in, soda or what, I don't know.
Exactly.
But yeah, they've done a great job, obviously. Shout out to one of their players, and you've mentioned Leonardo a couple times. Jackson Frazier, their point guard, is one of the best passers in the region.
Only a junior, I believe.
Yeah, really good player, sets up everybody else. One of the many, many kids in Northern Virginia we don't talk enough about. And there's other players on that roster too we don't talk enough about. But yeah, Jerry Lynn's in a good position over there. I had talked to him not too long ago, and they're riding high over there. He's doing a great job. As we know, one of the best coaches out there. Isn't going to be out prepared by anybody.
Yeah.
So they've got a good side of the bracket. Shout out to Centerville. I mean, the job they've done, nobody saw them coming. I talked to several coaches before the season that completely dismissed Centerville
Mm.
as it's going to be any kind of factor, and they turned out to be a factor. So congrats, Coach Person over there. Did a great job. And Chantilly, the thing about Chantilly is they took their lumps early. They did have some injuries that affected their depth. They can get it done.
Yeah.
They really can. Now, are they going to get it done and go to Marshall and beat Marshall? That's a tough task. They're going to have to be on their game. They're going to have to play very, very smart to have a chance. But they do have ability. I mean, if you told me Chantilly beat Marshall, it wouldn't completely shock me. It would definitely surprised me. And then Centerville and Langley, what an opportunity.
Yeah,
Langley only lost by 2 points to Marshall
exactly.
recently.
Yeah.
So, say what you about it. Langley's been all over the place. They play some young players, they play a freshman, they play a lot of juniors, and but they have firepower and they have talent. And now they have an opportunity if they can somehow get out of that bracket. And it's not going to be easy against Centerville, obviously on the road, and then it would be likely Marshall on the road. But that's an opportunity to get to states. It really is.
You will never have better opportunity than this. Any of these four teams have to be dreaming about this. I had to be dreaming about this. Marshall has won, I think, 13 of the last 14, but they have not been as sharp lately. They did beat Yorktown to win districts, but Yorktown was without Davis and Carrillo or Crucillo. So I don't know if that was as big. And then they did struggle with Langley. So I don't know if Marshall's coming into the postseason as strong as they were a month ago, but anything can change in a week. Great coaching, great coaching. Marshall has every opportunity to go to the state playoffs. I would say Langley, I believe, starts two freshmen, or at least they play a lot. Langley has a very, very young team. They have a big guy, a post player, but they're very young, so they're building something. And also, I want to shout out Centerville. Davis, the little Davis, or I believe his brother plays at Roanoke. Congratulations to this kid. He's probably been in the shadow of his brother most of his life. What is his name?
Maddox Davis,
Max
he's a
Davis. Congratulations to that
fantastic
kid.
player. And we knew he was going to be a fantastic player. We didn't know how much help he'd have. And he's gotten a lot of help
Yeah,
in the second half of the season. So kudos to him, kudos to Centerville.
exactly. Well, let's go. And I think clearly Westfield and Marshall are clear favorites to advance to the state playoffs. So
Yeah,
let's go to.
Marshall's home floor is a big deal.
It's a
It's
big
a
deal.
small gym with a ton of fans in there. It's tough.
It's a great environment. Hopefully they'll keep supporting the Statesmen. So let's go to Region 6B, which encompasses mostly Prince William. It is one team that's relevant, Independence, first year in, or at least back in Region 6, and Stafford Colonial Forge and Brook Point as well. I will say I want to talk about Independence. Start off with Independence. The reason why I was talking to Kevin Warren, he's the athletic director at Freedom South Riding, used to coach at Marshall. I used to work for him, and I was talking to him
I
one day
used to do
about.
podcasts with him.
That's right, yeah, yeah. And then, but I was talking to him about Indy, and I'm like, how bad is it the Independence has to go into that region down there with 19 teams? They're coming out of the cozy comforts of the Loudon Class 5, where you have a five-team district, everyone advances. And he's like, Julian, don't feel sorry for them. He said the teams down there are not that good. He says Independence will be fine. I'm like, Coach, that's wishful thinking. He says Independence will be fine. Trust me. And when I saw that upset against Garfield, here it is. Independence is one game away from going to the state playoffs and against a 13-11 Gainesville team. Independence and Gainesville are one game away from going to the state playoffs.
So yeah, let's talk about Brian Nelson's team first at Independence. Let's talk about Brian Nelson. He used to be the coach. This is where I got this hat from.
Hmm.
He used to be a coach at Robinson. He went to Independence. He's taken some lumps in the Potomac District. They took some lumps. A lot of seniors on that team. A lot of three-year varsity players. Mason Ogburn is one. He made first team all Cedar Run district. Really good shooter, smart, player, kind of a combo guard. Hits the three, hit a big three against Garfield the other night. Well, let's talk about his coaching tree. Justin Powers, the coach at Gainesville, I believe, also started under Brian Nelson at Robinson. The old Battlefield coach who resigned this year, he came from Brian Nelson's tree, Randy Bills. So maybe Coach Nelson a little more at home out there amongst his people who are also coaches
Yeah,
out there.
yeah.
But seriously, before the Patriot Gainesville game, when I was talking to a guy named Pete, who's an assistant coach for Gainesville, who also coached at Robinson under Brian Nelson, he told me, he goes, "Hey, Independence, that's a good Garfield might be a matchup for them." And I'm like, kind of like, I half poo-pooed, and I listen to Pete whenever he talks because he knows more than I'll ever know about basketball strategy. Um, he said Independence, Coach Nelson likes to play some of these zones, funky zones that might give Garfield a little bit of credit. I mean, a little bit of trouble. And he said, Herndon gave Garfield trouble playing zones. Now I don't know. It's kind of seemed weird to me because I know Potomac still plays a lot of zone. These Cardinal teams are not unaware of what zone is, and Garfield won 24 games this year.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like, I don't know. I mean, you're going into Garfield and that gym, but then I started to think about it. I'm like, well, Garfield hasn't been under the big lights yet. And then you start thinking about Independence and their 3-year varsity players like Ogburn, what's his name? Grewal, I think the forward they have also a 3-year varsity player. And it's like maybe they could get it done. But I still kind of was like, yeah, but I don't expect it. And then sure enough, they went to overtime and Independence took it and they advanced and they can go to states. So I don't know how many years Coach Nelson has been there now. Maybe this is his third or fourth year. I'm not sure, but clearly he's been building toward this year. If you had said, "Will Independence go to states?" I would have said I would have kind of chuckled. Now Gainesville has improved. Coach Rivers said it himself to me. Gainesville has improved a ton. Young players, really young players. Brown, and I'm going to get the names confused because they all confuse in my head. Cam Jefferson, and then the kid Brown, who are both not seniors. They all got all district honors. They came back against Patriot, almost beat Patriot. They've gotten a lot better. So they're a dangerous team as well. As you know, Independence won those first two games, I believe, but Gainesville won the third meeting between them. And I believe, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Gainesville will get the home court for this game because of that, because Gainesville beat them in the Cedar Run playoffs. And talk about Independence again. They only had two kids, the two kids I mentioned. Talk about coming to a tough district. You got Sherman Rivers there. You do those district meetings, I guess, to determine all district teams. Well, Independence on first and second team only had those two kids, and Battlefield had more. Gainesville had more, but Independence getting it done, maybe not with household names that we've talked about previously, but good coaching, experienced, smart kids getting it done. In that Independence Gainesville game will be a talk about high stakes between two teams that we didn't necessarily think would be there.
Well, I don't think either's ever been to the state playoffs. I'm not sure. Gainesville's not that old. I don't think they've ever been.
Yeah, I don't
Independence
think
may have,
they've snuck in. They were close a couple of times.
they
I
were
don't know
close.
if they've snuck in before or not.
I don't think so. I think they've been close. I think they lost in the semis twice. And Independence may have gotten there in five. Who do you favor in the Independence Gainesville game?
Gosh, I would say toss up.
Awesome.
Again, you're looking at two coaches that know each other real well. You're looking at two staffs that know each other really well. As I mentioned, Pete, assistant coach at Gainesville, used to be an assistant coach under the coach at Independence. A lot of storylines to write up in that game. It's a complete toss up to me. I like the game after what I saw though, after I saw Gainesville charge back on Patriot on the road. I figure Gainesville on their home court will have an advantage, but Independence just went on Garfield's home court. So it's going to be a good one. Really good one.
It's gonna be a good one. Well, hats off to those two teams. Congratulations. One of you guys is gonna, make it to the state tournament. Every player dreams of that. Let's go to the other part of the bracket, which is probably a little bit the stronger semi, I would guess, just because Patriot has only lost three games this year to all Petersburg, I believe. I forgot who else they lost to, but all their games, and they beaten Norview, who's one of the toughest teams in the 757. They've beaten Indy 3 times, beaten Hayfield, beaten Gainesville. Patriot got to be a huge favorite against Coach Rivers' alma mater, Potomac, who just squeaked by Brook Point, and it sounds like there might have been a little controversy in that game.
Yeah, Potomac and Brook Point was, well, you could say it was controversy in the Patriot Gainesville. Yeah, I've seen a lot of controversy. So I'll give you the Potomac Brook Point rundown. Brook Point's a fairly good team, even though they finished kind of just above 500. Good coach Jason John down there used to be at Colgan. Good coach, knows what he's doing, has a big kid who's like 6'7", who's a monster. He's only a junior. His name is Rico Harris, and he's got a tiny guard named TJ Wilkerson that just pours in points.
Hmm.
I mean, we talked about the 84 Denver Nuggets, I think, the last time. He's like one of those kids that would be great on there. So a solid team. Potomac, we haven't quite figured out yet. They're kind of like South County. They play defense, they get a lot of offense from their defense. And that's a big part of what they do. They have a lot of length across the board. They don't really have one big guy who's like 6'7", 6'8", but they have a lot of length. They've got Dominic Mack, who's like a 6'5" guard forward. They've got bigs, senior bigs. And there we talk about seniors. They're senior laden too. They've got 9 seniors on their roster. That came through against Brook Point. But the thing I want to tell you, this is going to drive you nuts, man. So it's 56-52 Potomac. Potomac's got all the momentum. Okay, I forget the play, but a Potomac kid gets called for a technical. So, and I don't want to second guess the refs on the technical because I don't know what the kid did or said. I couldn't see it. But they called a technical. Okay, on Rico Harris, the big kid for Brook Point, was fouled. I guess he thought the Potomac kid blocked him or whatever. The Potomac kid got the technical. So the refs administered the technical wrong. They had TJ Wilkerson, the small kid, was going to shoot the technicals. He came up first, shot 2 technicals, then shot another free throw for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me. So he made all 3 to make it 56-55. Refs waved off all the points, had Rico Harris come in and shoot, and I forget, and I've taken the ref class, so this is embarrassing. I forget. I think you administer the common foul first. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't do that. So they ended up that Brook Point only got 2 of the 4 points that they could have gotten because then they missed a couple free throws and it was 56-54. And, I'm sitting there just looking at the refs like, come on, you can't be doing that in a playoff game, especially if you're calling it a technical late.
Yeah.
Because you know how it goes. I mean, you give the kids a little leeway in a playoff game in the fourth quarter. Again, I don't want to second guess the call, but I mean, come on, man. And then it ended up being a 62-61 game. Now, I'm not going to say that cost Brook Point, but it definitely cost Brook Point. Now, Potomac won that game, though. I am going to say that as well. Their seniors took over down the end, and that's what I want to see. Dominic Mack had a really good and one to make it 59-56. He is so long and explosive, and their length in their zone presses gave Brook Point a lot of trouble throughout the game. What I was looking to see is can this team score enough in the half court? And they did at the end. Harlem Lions, one of their senior guards, made a lot of free throws, finished with 19 points. They did what they had to do down the stretch to win that game. And I would expect that from those 9 seniors. I put them kind of, you can say they've underachieved this year. They finished, I believe, second in the Cardinal District. Forest Park gave them trouble. Obviously, Garfield gave them trouble. They're a team that's very dangerous. And I think their length is and can give Patriot trouble, especially if Patriot plays careless with the ball. Now, Patriots offense, I saw some things from Patriots offense. I think you've mentioned it, and I'll go on forever, so I'll wrap this up. Jeremiah Parrish, their junior post player, he's big for them because if Gaskins and their shooter Magriddle aren't, aren't kind of at peak performance. Their offense can stall a little bit. And against Potomac's length and defense, I think it's going to be important for Jeremiah Parrish to draw some fouls and do some damage inside. And that in part, I think will kind of open up the Patriot shooters. I know I've said too much on this topic. I did see a Patriot game and a Potomac game in the last week and a half, so
Oh,
I am fully versed on those teams. It'll be a good one.
but there's a lot of things. That's a great analysis. There's a lot of things going on in my mind with Potomac. They're very long, as you said. They're athletic. They can shoot. So when you look at that, they seem like they have everything. The Garfield loss against Indy bothers me. Maybe the district wasn't that strong. I saw Woodbridge lose by 30 to Oakton, so I'm thinking maybe the district wasn't as strong. I really feel like Patriot matches up real well with a team like Potomac, a team that athletic team like that, because Patriot can play that game and they can outscore you. Patriot is going to score a lot of points. So if you don't defend them, they're going to put 80 points on the board pretty easily.
Yeah,
So I do think this is going to be a fun game to watch. I think you got athletes on both sides. The Noah kid from Patriot impresses me. I can't think of his last name. Noah
Conrad. Yeah,
Conrad, like that. He's a kid. He does a little bit of. He's like the Swiss Army knife. Does a little bit of everything. I like the kid, and they got the other two kids that obviously can put the ball in the basket. You know, Patriots been knocking at the door for years. Um, their loss against Petersburg was pretty shocking. I mean, they were not in that game, and that should never happen. You'd think with a team that can win state, but it's also one of these Saturday games. They tend to mean I don't know what to do make of these Saturday games. I think this is the year Patriot may be able to go to the final game and actually do it. They have the capability. Whether they'll do it or not, I don't know. Because I do think this Potomac game is not going to be a gimme, even though it's a good matchup. Um, but anyway, so Patriots got a great chance to go to the state, and it looks like Gainesville and Independence is a toss-up. Let's go to 5C. This is one of those brackets. It's a small bracket. I feel like these four teams are already qualifying for state, and I feel like they've missed some steps along the way. But you got Potomac Falls, 20-7. Coach Jeff Hawes, very balanced team led by point guard Josh Orbita, going against a very seasoned, at least in terms of the teams that they played this year, 19-6 Massaponax team.
Yeah, I'm thinking about hitting that actually because it's near my house. I live way down by Kings Dominion now, and I've been meaning to see that. And that's an intriguing game. A lot of people could talk about, well, I don't want to play Potomac Falls at Potomac Falls, tough place to play. Well, down there is a tough place to play as well. So Potomac Falls is going to have their hands full, talented team down there. I love the podcast that you did with Jeff Hawes a while
Oh, thank you.
back,
Yeah.
where he talked about, his second unit and the options he's had. What do you call that unit? I forget.
Blue? Did he call it blue or something?
Something. There was a reason for it that was kind of cool
It was
too.
a Carolina. It was something to do with Carolina.
Yeah, it might have been. I
Yeah.
forget.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
But yeah, he's got options, and he's got a deeper team that's going to play disciplined. And if they don't play disciplined, they're going to be on the bench. So he's got, options to play well with that team. Tough environment though. They're going to have to be on their game. They haven't demonstrated they can beat that type of team on the road too much this year. They've won some district games on the road against good teams, against solid teams. We've already mentioned, Briar Woods near the bottom of that district, and now they might go to states. So yeah, you just don't know. But down there is going to be a tough task. I am it, again. I'm not even doing my schedule yet just because of the weather. But they may get less weather down there too. Now that won't mean anything if Loudon is closed. So we'll see. I may try to catch that game because I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah, I definitely think this is not a great Potomac Falls in terms of talent, but it's a very deep team. They shoot the ball really well.
Yeah.
Obviously, coach does a great job. It'll be great to see if coach get the Panthers back to the state playoffs. On the other side of the bracket, this is a neighbor of mine, Stonebridge. I've seen them at least 5 or 6 times. They're a great backcourt, Kevin Reyes and Sam Rubino. Sam Rubino is a most unassuming looking basketball player you ever see. Probably 5'6", 5'7". Doesn't have a classic looking jump shot, but is a great shooter. Reyes is just a tremendous ball handler, long, like maybe 5'11", 6 foot guard, 6'1" maybe. Does a really good job. Then they have a bunch of football players that come in. Stonebridge is 21-4. It is eight, and Briarwoods is in their district, so that they probably played. I think Stonebridge won both games. 8-17 Briarwoods team, as we mentioned before, Devin Pettibone. Stonebridge has to feel pretty good about it. Its chances of going to the state
Well,
playoffs.
I mean, if you get, the sixth or fifth place team in your district for states at home, you take that opportunity. But Briarwood's isn't going to go down easy. They're battle tested. They've got several seniors, most notably Pettibone, that runs the show. But you're right. I saw Stonebridge live not too long ago against Freedom, and they're pretty impressive. Now they suffered an injury in their rotation. Nate Hughes went down for the year with an ACL. He was a backup forward that played a pretty key role for them, but they're still pretty deep. Like you mentioned, Reyes. Gosh, he impresses me every time I see him. He just scores effortlessly. I mean, just puts the ball in the basket. When he's open, you see his toes right up against the 3-point line,
Yeah.
maximizing tight release, and his shots go in and he gets to the rim. I love Rubino. He's just an everything on the floor kind of guard. He does a great job. Carter Burns, very unheralded, bigger guard that they have over there, does a great job. And their football player, I believe his last name is Golston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just talk about, Lee over at Westfield, little Lee at Westfield, Golston, what an athlete. And all they do is they set him up on back doors and picks to the basket. He gets the ball and he will jump to the rim and put it right in.
Yeah. He's only a
So
sophomore too. Only a sophomore too.
I believe so.
Yeah.
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 So, and a fantastic athlete. He's gotten a lot better as the season's gone on. Kent Kling said, they've really improved kind of some things with him. Obviously, it took him a while to get his basketball legs after football season. So, Stonebridge looking good for that berth. I would be surprised if Briarwoods beats them, but they can certainly play them close. And if it gets close, anything can happen.
Anything I don't Stonebridge is not the kind of team that's unbeatable. One thing the Stonebridge coach does, if a player gets 2 fouls, they sit down the rest of the half. So Reyes and Rubin have sat down large parts of games with 2 fouls. I've seen it, and I'm so that's if they get fouls, that could be a problem for Stonebridge. Very good, very deep team. They have another football player, 6'4", a white kid, about maybe 240. He
Oh
plays
yeah,
point.
yeah, their center. I forget his
I
name,
forgot
but
his name. He's also
he sets the picks, and
six. Def,
they've also got a 6'4" sophomore that comes off the bench that is pretty
yeah.
solid as well. That's going to be a good player we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a year or two.
They're very deep. Again, look, in class five, the 757 is so deep in five. So any team that advances to states, eventually they're going to have to run into some really huge bust offs. I think class five is the toughest classification. I don't
It's a
even.
juggernaut
It
if
is.
they make it, but we didn't think Stonebridge could win it in that COVID one either.
That's right. So
So you never know.
yeah, all you can do is be alive. And hats off to these teams. Stonebridge has been good all year, and so has Potomac Falls and Massaponax and Briarwoods. Good luck to you guys as well. Let's go to four. And before we get to the game of the year, Broad Run and Tusky, with one team going to state, that's the game of the year. Let's start off with Heritage. Heritage might be the top team in Northern Virginia right now, if not Westfield. Um, Heritage has been great all year. They've lost one game, and I believe that was to EC Glass, who may be still undefeated or close to it. Heritage is very deep, led by Dylan Williams, Jordan Garland, Mason Miller, three really good players. Coach Ben Farquaad does a great job. They're very deep though. They're 7 or 8 deep. They're going against a Loudoun County team that upset a team Woodgrove that's been hot. I watched the last part of the game on video, and this is what tournaments are all about. County made some shots, and Woodgrove didn't. And but they have a very tough assignment going traveling to Heritage tomorrow night, weather permitting, to play a very tough Heritage team.
Yeah, Heritage, when you talk about them in respect to Tuscarora and Broad Run, maybe Heritage has the most complete team. I
Yeah.
mean, certainly the most depth, I guess you would say, even though they don't go, particularly deep. You get their box scores, though, every night, and it's a different guy. It's Dylan Williams setting up a different guy every night. It's Jordan Garland flying in from the wing, getting it done, or else it's Mason Miller. It's only when we go, but Mason Miller going crazy and dropping 27. But it's in you got that guy Hetzel who's been playing real well,
Rex Hexel. Yeah.
scoring in double figures. Heritage is just playing real well right now. And have they arrived? I mean, you could say yes. Now the question is Broad Run in that side of the bracket. Are the games versus Tuscarora and Heritage? There are only two losses. Are those anomalies where they pretty much could scored in the low 50s both games? A team that was averaging over 75 points a game, a team that beat Woodson by 15 in one of those Saturday games, which again, you throw out a little, but this was a local one.
Yeah.
So, how good Broad Run is with Ryan Brzezinski and those guys over there, Adam Purdue, those guys. Is it a throwaway game? Was Broad Run holding something back? Was Broad Run, we're not going to show them anything. We're going to run base offense. I don't know. Your opinion is probably stronger than mine on whether that's true. Can Broad Run win it? Can Tuscarora win it? Can Heritage win it? In any of those three teams could win it. You obviously give Heritage the advantage since they're the number one seed and they get to host Loco at home. Now, Loudoun County, again, I need to really study them. They've gotten so much better. Can they beat Heritage on the road? But they can keep it close.
Mm.
Can they beat them? It's going to be a tall task. Heritage is amped. The community is amped. They want to see a deep run in the States this year.
One thing I'll say about Heritage, this is a team that does not live and die by the jump shot. A little bit like West Potomac's teams. Heritage does most of the work inside. Even Mason Miller, who's a tremendous shooter, he goes to the hole. I just don't see them having an off night. All year long, they played for that top seed. The Tuskegee game was amazing, where it was an overtime game. It was kind of a technical foul called on the crowd, which I'd never seen with zeros on the clock. But that being said, they earned that top seed. That puts them in the driver's seat for the state bid. Broad Run, if you'd asked me a month ago, I would have said, along with Westfield, they're the best teams that I've seen all year. I love that Broad Run team. They pass the ball. They're very balanced. But Ryan Brzezinski is a tremendous player. He's going to Mount St. Mary's. Adam Purdue is a 1,000-point scorer like his older brothers were. He's going to Swarthmore, and he's back from injury. Now, Brandon Edmonds, I believe, a sophomore transfer from Paul VI, does a tremendous job. Ben Bowl, nice point guard. Broad Run passes the ball. They have everything, but they did not respond well against Tuskegee or Heritage. That can happen to anybody. We don't want to, and those are both on their home courts. We don't want to make too much of that. Could have been two bad nights, but it is interesting. Tuscarora's coming back to Broad Run. They do have. I will miss this kid, Colin Bird. He's so much fun to watch. Had a tremendous year going to Grambling State. Really had a great career. Charles Battaglia, I believe, is signed with Hood College as well. 6'3", long kid. He's a very athletic kid. I understand a great baseball player. Their post player, who was out most of the year, is back, and he's also a very good player. Can't think of his name, Chris. You got his
Hayden
name?
Collins.
Collins. Hayden? Yeah, Hayden Collins.
Yep.
Tremendous player. This is a 50-50. This is a game that I will be at tomorrow night. I hope weather permitting. I think it's going to be a packed gym, and it's a shame, but only one of these teams is going to state, and the other one, we're gonna. I will never forget these players. I've enjoyed these players immensely, but unfortunately, one of these teams is going to go home, and the other team goes forward. And if they win the final, if not, at least their seasons go on. So it's going to be a shame. But
Yeah, congrats to Hood College, by the way, wrapping up Battaglia there. I
yeah,
saw a bunch of Hood guys at the Briarwoods Lightridge game
yeah,
watching Devin Pettibone be the hero with .9 seconds left. And then right after that, I saw they had signed Chaz Battaglia. So great weekend that weekend for Hood College.
yeah.
And yeah, I echo you completely. Colin Bird is just the man.
Yeah.
So happy he's going to Grambling. I'd like to say something knowledgeable. All I can say is Eddie Robinson does a fine job. And,
I don't
I
know.
don't really know much about the basketball
I always
program.
thought of Grambling State and Jackson
Yeah,
State as football school, so
yeah.
I have no idea about basketball.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But so happy for him. He's a great player to watch. And Ryan Brzezinski, congrats to him and his family for their scholarship, going to
yeah.
Mount St. Mary's, I believe.
Yeah, St. Mary's. Yeah,
Yeah, I've watched him since he was a real skinny kid at Briar Woods, and just to see some of the games he's had this year where he dominates the boards, where he dropped 40 against was that against Woodson? I think it was.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was against. He's definitely dropped 40 against somebody. Just to see those kids as seniors, and like you say, it is a shame that a couple of those teams aren't going to make it, or one isn't going to make it to states.
Yeah, there's some very weak brackets, and unfortunately, this is not one of them. They definitely caught a tough bracket, but that's the way it goes. I will be there, guys. And Hood College also, I think Cullen Robinson from Alexandria City, Kai's younger brother's there, and I believe he's having a great career. I know that obviously Kai is as well. Let's go over to the girls class four. Let's stay in Loudon. This is a great Final Four. Not only do we have four really good teams, we've got a lot of really good players. We got, congratulations, Coach Cook. Coach Taylor had her twins. Um, she's the only person I
Oh,
know
she
that.
did. That's great.
That's great. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her on the bench. Knowing her. But anyway, let's start with the county heritage game. Now, county is led by player of the year in that district, Sammy. Is it Sammy?
White.
Sammy White. Only a sophomore, left hand, very good finisher, interesting player, very long, and Heritage is very tough. They have the Stanford sisters, Alyssa and Kira. I had a great time talking to them. They're the defending state champions, as is, Woodgrove is a champion from 2 years ago. So this is a very tough bracket. But anyway, County is not going to be a walkover. Coach Raven does a great job there in Heritage. I believe this game is going to be at Heritage. Do you give County any chance against Heritage?
Absolutely. I definitely do. It's tough. County is kind of not a multi-dimensional team too much. Now they've got some good players. They've got more than one good player. But Sammy White is definitely the key there. She is a fantastic player. I think if she gets her free throw shooting up to like 80%, she could average by the time she's a senior she might average like 28, 29 points a
Oh,
game because she just gets it done. Combines a lot of things, can defend down low, can defend the perimeter, can post up, can play point guard. Just a really good player. You wouldn't think she was a sophomore because she's started to get stronger too. Kind of in the vein of Kira Stanford. Now, I haven't heard your interview. I'm behind on your podcast. I
yeah,
know you interviewed some players that I want to get to.
you got
I
to get.
didn't
They're
even have.
funny. They're really funny girls. They're great.
Oh yeah, they were great. I interviewed them after the Heritage Valley game earlier this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're really good. You root for those
yeah, they're
kids.
good kids.
And I think you kind of got the I didn't see the interview, but I know you understand how good Kira Stanford has gotten.
Yeah.
I saw it this summer. You could kind of see it where she physically took a jump and she could always play basketball. Now she's joining kind of her sister Alyssa, who is a 2010 almost every time out type of player, just a smart player who can just batter you down in the post. And they've got other players as well. I could talk all
They
day.
got the point guard is a good player too. I can't think of her
Yeah,
name.
Riley McKitka. She's
Yes,
very good.
good player.
Lightning quick. I know there are a lot of Division 3 schools around here. They're like, please God, be interested in us
Yeah.
for her. So yeah, I mean they're going to be tough to beat. Are they beatable? Two good coaches, like you mentioned. We always talk about Taylor Cook, a Raven Short, obviously a very experienced, good coach as well. There's going to be no tricks. They're all friends. They know what's going on. They coach these players in the summer. So it's going to be tough just going in the Heritage Gym. But can Loudoun County win? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting. I saw Kiara Stanford, and she has like this determined athletic look on her. She plays hard. She plays with like a chip on her shoulder, like, I can do this. She is a very impressive athlete. And Alyssa can really shoot the rock. She's very cagey. Two really interesting athletes. That'll be a great game. I hope it'll be interesting to see if Coach Cook shows up. Uh, but that's going to be a great matchup. Let's go to the other side of that bracket.
I mean, I can't imagine she won't show up. You
I
know what I
know.
mean?
I don't want to put it past. I don't want to put pressure on her, but I don't want to put it past her. So that's gonna be something else. Well, on the other side of that bracket, we have a rivalry game. They're not in the same district, but Loudon Valley and Woodgrove are less than 2 miles apart, and I believe they split this year. You have Valley is a very long team. They played Heritage very tough. They only lost by one game in districts. That game is that game was anyone's game until very late. Woodgrove, they had the Maya and May show, two very good guards, athletic, can do everything. The coach by the great Derek Fisher, not of the Lakers Derek Fisher, but of the Loudoun County and high school Derek Fisher. I definitely think this is one of the games to see tomorrow night, the Woodgrove Valley game.
Shout out to our Derek Fisher though, because he used to be a playground rat at about the same time I was a
Oh, is that right?
playground
Okay.
rat. So I would see him at some of the places like Nottaway and stuff like that back in the day.
Yeah.
So shout out to Coach Fisher, who is not the Derek Fisher, but just wanted to give him a basketball shout out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great girls matchup. Again, the team split this year. Woodgrove has been coming on. In my Nova 19 rankings, I'm begging these Loudon teams to stay in there. They
Yeah.
can't stay in there because they're all beating each other.
Yeah.
I think in a way that's because, okay, none of them are really top 10, top 15 type teams. They're all good, though. That includes Loudoun County in that list as well. I would caution you, everybody goes, and this includes a Loudoun Valley parent I've dealt with recently. Oh, we only lost to Heritage by 3. Well, Heritage ain't gonna blow you out, but they always win those games,
They're in the 40. They're in the 40s. How much could they win by?
Yeah, I mean they're going to win those 1-2 possession games, and so far you've lost all of them. But Loudon Valley is very good. Maggie Mills, a long senior who's had a great career there, good player, smart player, can post up, defend the lane. She matches up well with Heritage's bigs. Now she'll be up against Woodgrove too, where she can maybe do a little more damage inside than she can against Heritage. Valley has another power forward. I forget her name. It escapes me. And got some Alyssa Tribino, some very experienced guards. And you mentioned Woodgrove. Woodgrove is a good team that seems to be kind of coming on of late. I've been looking for that second Loudon team to rank below Heritage. Woodgrove looks like they have become that team
Yeah.
of late. I would favor Woodgrove in that game, but it's anyone's game. It's a toss-up rivalry game.
Yeah. I thought you threw Woodgrove a bone because they had 7 losses. One thing I'd say about this class, they have not done well out of district. Heritage
No.
struggled early, and they're a better team now. Woodgrove lost big to lost big to Yorktown, lost big to Hayfield. So, when you have a lot of losses and you're out of district is not strong, in your situation, I know you're trying to spread the wealth, but it's very hard.
Yeah.
That Liberty Girls district and the Concord, they are supreme districts. And then not only to mention the private school girls team. So
Yeah. And then,
it's
but,
it's very hard.
Potomac Falls earlier this year, and we're talking another district, beat Chantilly. So I
It's
was
very
pumped on Potomac Falls. They started losing games in district. Briar Woods had some injuries, started losing games. Loudon Valley, when I was talking to this parent, we should be in there. We should be ranked. Loudon Valley went right out and lost to Riverside and Broad Run
yeah.
right after he told me that. So, by the way, never ever complain about my rankings to me in email because your team is going to lose
Yeah.
as soon as you do. I think God is literally on Nova Hoop's side now. But that's an aside.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that later. But yeah, all very good teams. And Loudon Valley Woodgrove is going to be a really good game. Obviously, if you live out that way, go see that game. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I definitely would. It's I just can't miss Ryan and Collins the matchup because this will be the
Right,
last
right.
time I see
Well,
one of
I
those
didn't
kids.
mean you
Oh,
specifically.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I get complaints about rankings and all districts and all that stuff, and I always tell people settle it on the court. You can't control rankings. You can't control all district. All you can control is the score on the scoreboard. That's all you have to do. Nothing else really matters. That's
It
all
really
you.
doesn't.
That's all you really control. I do a soccer ranking, and I try my best. But I don't have a crystal ball, and I try to rank on the teams I think are the best and who's playing well recently. But I mean, there's so many things you can base rankings on. It just depends on how you're trying to do it. And so it's really Chris Jollay trying to do his best. And you work harder than anybody, but it's just all depends on what you're looking for. Well, let's go to Class 5 and stay in Loudoun County for now. And I start with Potomac Falls. I believe they're still alive.
No, they're gone. On the girls' side, they're gone.
Oh, they
That was one of
lost.
the things. They lost in the first round, I think, to Riverside.
Oh, that's right, they did.
Yeah, it's
Okay, well, let's
crazy.
catch us up on Class 5.
Well, that's the Potomac district, and again, a lot of teams that could just beat each other, and we've seen crazy results. Briar Woods was kind of gonna go. Briar Woods has had a lot of injuries. They've done a good job. Again, I would say Coach of the Year over there, Mike. I would say they've done a fantastic job. Ended up tying for the regular season in a three-way tie, but getting the number one seed. So despite their injuries, you're like, well, they still got a chance, and they had some good players still healthy. Zahar, Brianna, I believe Zahar,
Mhm.
their post in the middle. Love her, just a real intelligent, smart player. Can get a lot of things done. A lot of guards that can get things done. But they're gone. I can't even remember. There's so many. Light Ridge beats Briar Woods, and Briar Woods beats Light Ridge, and Riverside beats Stonebridge. Stonebridge is the team to talk about. Okay. Stonebridge started really slow the year. And then they came on like a champ at the end of the year. And they've been beating teams like a champ. They won the tournament. They grabbed the number one seed in the region. So they're rolling and they're a very solid
Did
team.
they have
I,
players hurt? Because they were like 2-8 at one point. Did they have
yeah,
players?
I don't. I know they had at least one kid that was out. I couldn't tell you specifically. I have yet to talk to her down there, the coach, and I have yet to see a game live. I've seen him on NFHS a couple times. So I'm eager to see. I'm going to try to get to a Stonebridge girls game. Of course, some parent in the comment in one of my stories complained that I hadn't been to a Stonebridge girls game, which makes me not want to go to a Stonebridge girls game because I don't have to, but I'm going to try to see them live. They've been doing a great job there. And Lightridge is the crazy team that's still alive as well. Lightridge, I watched right before the craziness on the boys' side between Lightridge and Briar Woods. I watched Lightridge down 8 points to Freedom late, Freedom South Riding. Now, if you know Freedom South Riding, they're girls. If you're down like 10 points to them, that's a lot because they play, that grind it out, kind of
Mm.
slow it down pace. Lightridge came back, and I think they've underachieved all year. I had them at the start of the year in the Nova 19 as I believe 18 or something like that. A lot of seniors been building toward this year. New coach. They seem like they've put it together a little bit here at the end. They won a playoff game. They play Massaponautics as well. On the girls' side, very winnable game.
Mm.
That team is good. They have a freshman, Scruggs, who kills it, but that team finished third in that district.
Mm.
Lightridge, probably the favorite in that game on the road to make states. Stonebridge at home playing, I think, who is it?
I
Riverside?
think
I
it's
can't.
Riverside.
It is Riverside. Talk about another team that's done a great job. They were in dead last, right? Well, Champ I think Champ was in dead last, but Riverside was in sixth place. Riverside started beating people, and they've got talent as well, well coached. Maya Brown, a really good player that they have, a guard who can play. So it's crazy. It really is. And there's a path. I think there's going to be two Potomac district teams in states.
That's
Now you
amazing.
get the states in class 5 on the girls' side, and it's scary, but hats off to those three teams still left.
That's great. You get to qualify for the Prince Anne
Yeah,
Invitational
yeah. I
Tournament.
mean, well, that's a different thing. Just getting to the Siegel Center to lose by 40 to them would still be just like
Yeah.
amazing, you
And
know?
also a chance for Stonebridge to send two teams to state, and their football team went to state this year as well. Congratulations. Now let's go to the northern part of Class 6 in the northern region. I think one of the deepest regions, boys or girls, that we're going to talk about. The Liberty is just stacked, and the Concord is stacked. Freddie has Oakton playing great basketball. We all know
Shocker.
what's that?
Shocker, right?
Exactly. Uh, and then it's I think Centerville coach McLean, Josephine is playing well, but they both had two big wins in districts.
Yeah, so what happened was Centerville took the regular season crown. And they swept Chantilly and split with Oakton. I covered the first Centerville Oakton game. Oakton won. And Centerville really didn't lose since then. Ended up winning the district. So you get to the Concord semifinals. Centerville took care of Madison. Madison very solid. It's funny. They're 12 and 12. They go to regionals. They're 12 and 12. They've scored the exact same amount of points as they have against, at least by my calculations, which are probably like 1 or 2 points off. But the definition of a 500 team is what I'm telling you. Centerville took care of Madison, then Oakton Chantilly round three, which had a memorable game last year at regionals to get to states. Oakton waxed them 55 to 25. It wasn't even close, which was a surprise. I know Chantilly licking its wounds after that one because their offensive plan didn't work and their defensive plan didn't work in that game. Now, hey, they've got a path to get right back at it in regionals. But Oakton, after that big win, then played another classic at South Lakes for the Concord Championship, won 39-36 over Joe's Centerville Wildcats in overtime. Jocelyn Kinlaw, who's a junior, had an and one that was pretty much the difference into that one. Great defense, obviously. Again, if you're a basketball fan, I don't care if you're a girls, guys fan, watching Eliza Murray, Centerville's point guard, go up against Sophie Toole, who is mostly Oakton's point guard. Brooke Chang kind of does some of that as well. What a matchup that is. And defensively, they just get after each other. So fun game. I know Coach McLean isn't happy after losing that one, but we get right into regionals. And Oakton's got a better path now, though. Oakton and Fred Priesters won 4 straight district tournaments. You knew this was going to happen again. He doesn't even care about the end of the regular season,
Mm.
really. If he can grab the number 1 seed, he will. But he was the number 2 seed, got the bye, took care of Chantilly. Now they're the top seeded team on the other side from Langley in that regional, and they've got a better path. They got to take Marshall, the 4th place team, in the Liberty first. And then the second game would be the winner of Washington Liberty and Chantilly. Again, 2 very good teams with 2 Division I centers. However, Oakton's beaten both of those teams this year, including Washington Liberty. Now, that was an early season game, but again, Fred Priester's going to have time to look at that game and look at that film and prepare for one of those for a chance to get in the States. Washington Liberty Chantilly, we already talked about Loudon Valley Woodgrove. Washington Liberty Chantilly is the first round matchup in the northern region to look at. Again, I mentioned 2 Division I centers. Eve Youngman, who's going to Dartmouth. Love Buckle over there. He hadn't been able to get past Langley, though. It's crazy. Langley is so well coached. We've talked about that before. But Washington Liberty is very potent, really good players over there. They get a home game with Chantilly, which is going to be fun. Chantilly, I don't know, they should be pissed off after they lost by 30 to Oakton, I would imagine. I would hope they would be. So that's going to be a really good game. And then, poor Madison has to open up with Langley again on the road to Langley, who's just, they've done a fantastic, you could have Coach Baker as coach of the year, I think, every year.
Absolutely.
And she's taken young players this year around Maddie Shamlou, who's her senior point guard. It's nice to have a senior point guard. And she's made them better. Her staff has made them better. They have 1 loss this year to Chantilly, and that was it. I
Ar-
used to have
Armaya, her short player.
Arma, yeah,
Arma.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's a superstar in the making. She leads them in scoring most times, real athletic sophomore, but only a sophomore. And that team is primed. It's only 1 loss to Chantilly. I was worried about if they could score enough sometimes. They seem like now they're getting balanced contributions where they can score enough, and they always play defense. So they're going to be tough on the other side of their bracket. But, they've got Centerville on the other side of that bracket. So if the brackets hold, and they probably will, Centerville against Yorktown, Centerville hosting Yorktown, and I'm sorry, Langley hosting Madison. If those brackets hold, that Langley Centerville semifinal matchup is going to be something.
Yeah. I definitely think that's one of the toughest brackets
Oh yeah,
in girls basketball, and maybe even in Northern Virginia, boys and girls. Let's go to the Occoquan region. I know that South County and Robinson once again had their rivalry, but I'm hearing the South County team is terrific. I did not get a
yeah.
chance to see them. And Hayfield, the girls came through with the district championship, and they outdid the boys this year. I know Coach Carlos was the first one to congratulate them. Let's talk about the Occoquan region.
Okay, well, again, everything held. West Potomac, really good team, lost 3 times to SoCo. Most recently Friday in the Patriot District Championship. SoCo's rolling. They lost game 1 to Gainesville and they haven't lost since. I was a little worried because Layla Toll, their star point guard, who is going to play Division 1 as well. She hurt her, and I can't remember what it was knee, foot, whatever she hurt. I know she's has her knee bandaged up. She looks fine, so they're rolling. Just a quality team that plays really good defense. Natalia Wooten and they have length. They have experience. They play really good defense, and that's an underrated part of what they do. I think they only give up 27 points a game, which
Wow,
is insane,
that's
especially
incredible.
in the Patriot District,
Yeah.
where you have some pretty good teams. So they do a good job. They're doing a good job. They're the favorite. They're the team that I was telling some of my friends, I was like, you want to avoid. If you're on their side of the bracket, that's bad, because SoCo is going to be tough to beat. Are they unbeatable? No, they're not unbeatable, but they're the strong favorite there. Hayfield has really come on. Edison, had some opportunities. Hayfield swept Edison 3 times. The most recent of which was Friday night. Hayfield won the third game. Edison never really was in that game. I mean, they were in it, but they weren't. Hayfield took control, scored 60 points. It all flows through Alexis Cox, their point guard, who's a fantastic point guard. Hayfield's improved. Hayfield played South County early this year, lost by like 18 maybe on Hayfield's home floor. I would think Hayfield could give them a little bit more of a game this time. So we'll see. As far as the others, they got to go through now. Hayfield will prove it because, in theory, they might match up with West Potomac, who is an awesome team. And you remember what they did last year as well.
Mhm.
Now, by the time West Potomac got to Osborne Park, they were so beat up that they couldn't do anything. But West Potomac certainly capable of winning the region. Can't seem to figure out South County though. West Potomac very talented, hasn't figured out South County. Some of the other teams in that district, Robinson, I love. They've been kind of up and down, but they played a really hard schedule. And they've been looking good. Woodson has looked good. Woodson has good front court players. But they don't have the backcourt kind of, person that can really take over a game and just win you a playoff game. Those teams are the most dangerous. Edison, who is a good team, just hasn't been able to beat those really good teams this year. Edison and Robinson is the matchup to look for in the next round at Edison. That'll be a very good game.
Yeah. Speaking of great coaches, you just talked about so many great coaches in that bracket.
Oh
Coach
yeah,
Lewis, uh, uh, I forgot the Robinson coach, which like Coach Stade, and
TJ, yeah.
there's, every coach is that bracket is just so tough. Good luck to all. Well, should we go to the Osborne Park Invitational, which is the six B region? I mean Osborne Park, amazing team, and they had some front page results this year. I think they're one of the favorites, along with Manchester. I think to win the whole thing. Who is their main competition in 6B?
Yeah, well, when you get to states, I would add South County in that
You would,
conversation,
yeah,
but we're not there yet.
yeah, yeah.
Gainesville, yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, Osborne Park waxed Gainesville again, and just it's not so much that Osborne Park is beating Gainesville; it's just that they're beating them pretty good. And honestly, it surprises me a little that Gainesville isn't that close. I mean, Gainesville is a very good team that's beaten SoCo earlier in the year. They beat Chantilly by double digits. I watched that live. They've got Division I players up front in Abraham, who's a junior, and Peyton White, who's going to play at Towson. They just can't get it done against Osborne Park.
Well,
And Osborne Park is starting to wake up. I know you like Janie Salinas,
yeah.
their shooter. And she really, to me, hasn't had a great year.
Oh, she has
Uh,
it. Interesting.
yeah, and she's been hitting of late. And of course, they've got Sanaya Sneed, a shooter who's gone to Longwood, I believe. It's so long ago now. She committed, I think, a year ago. Key Rainey, who's we've talked about her before, just a fantastic player,
She's
and
going to Towson. She's going to Towson also, isn't she?
she is also going
Yeah.
to Towson. So Towson got a great haul from Northern Virginia out west here. Yeah, Osborne Park isn't going to be stopped. They played Colgan, beat them 76-41. If you've been reading Nova Hoops, you know about Colgan. They have a freshman who's put up 40 a couple times. And Osborne Park took care of them. And I believe Osborne Park gets Colonial Forge next. Colonial Forge, a good young team that I like out of the Commonwealth. I mean, what are they going to do against Osborne Park? Colonial Forge actually has they have a couple really good players that are only sophomores, Reagan Brimhall and Sidney Nicholson. But again, they're playing Osborne Park. The big surprise on that side of the district was Potomac losing, who was, I think, 18-2 coming into the game. Their only loss to Hayfield and someone else. Battlefield upset them. The third seed out of the Cedar Run took them out. So now it'll be Battlefield at Gainesville in that other semi to see who gets the states. Again, not a bad opportunity for Battlefield, although they haven't shown they can beat Gainesville this year. Gainesville gonna go to states, just Osborne Park, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's somebody said it was Inside Nova on Twitter that did like a story that said before the year, is this the year Gainesville finally beats Osborne Park? And Torian Patterson there,
Mhm.
he's on Twitter. He's so funny. He just goes, nope, and he retweets it every time Osborne Park beats Gainesville. Man, I've coached, you've coached. It gets in these kids' heads, and I can only imagine how much OP is in Gainesville's head at this point.
I feel Patriot is the same way on the boys' side over Potomac and also over Gainesville. They have the mental edge. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I know, and they've beaten Independence. On the girls' side, I really think that Osborne Park team is unbelievable to watch. I have not seen them this year. I would look forward to seeing them back at the States, but they have to earn that. Chris, I want to thank you for doing this. As always, you've had a tremendous year. Make sure you go see Chris at novahoops.com. Also, he loves getting emails complaining about his rankings and stuff. So
I
please reach
do.
out to my email. But no, support Chris's mission of keeping us in the loop. He's gonna get the some of the schedules up, but who knows what's going to happen this week? We may be going to see some basketball games on Saturday night, and sometimes even Sunday. They've gotten permission to play. But Chris, look, thanks again for so much time on a Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you at some games this week.
Julian, I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you. Website's doing great. Had something like 80,000 hits,
Awesome.
last month. So, and you're a part of that. I thank you for having me on, and I better see you at some games.
Yeah, we don't have the Washington Post anymore, but we have Chris Jollay. So support this man. I don't. Washington Post has had um, very high level coverage of high school basketball for many years. So it's always been the way it is
But
now.
I look forward to, I'll tell you, I'll give you a little bit of news. Yours truly may be helping out a little bit, advocating for some Northern Virginia athletes when the all met
Oh,
is
good.
discussed.
That's awesome. Well, well, they should because I don't. Who else would they ask? So, but anyway, Chris,
You,
look,
they could ask you. I will hand it off to you if
no,
you'd
I'm
like.
too biased. I'm too opinionated. I want someone like you who's out there doing the work, and
I'm
I
very
have
biased.
let's say, yeah, I have. I'm way too opinionated. But Chris, look, I really appreciate all you do, and enjoy the games this week.
Thanks. You
All right,
too, Julian.
all right, buddy, take care, buddy.
See you, buddy.
All right, you
Bye.
too.